Hello, this is my go at Nerimon's 2012 YouTube survey. First question, why are you called that? Well, my name is Andrew Thomas MacLean. I'm called MacLean because that was my father's name and his father's name and his father's name. Way back until some time in history, they changed their surname from something else. So MacLean is explained. My middle Christian name is Thomas. Now, there's been a Thomas in my father's line of descent for hundreds of years. I think for as far back as can be traced, there's been a Thomas in the male line in every generation. So I'm just the next in that long tradition. And following me, some of my cousins have children and grandchildren called Thomas. But as far as I know, I'm the first Andrew in my father's line of descent. But I'm not the last. My grandson is also called Andrew. So I guess that's why I'm called what I'm called, Andrew Thomas MacLean. Tell us about your favourite school teacher. Well, in truth, it's a long time ago. Now, in the United Kingdom, if you ask somebody who was their favourite school teacher, they'll tell you who taught them in secondary school or in primary school. In the United States, they might tell you who taught them in university. So let me have two goes at this. Looking back over my years in secondary school, it's hard to say which teacher I liked most, but it's easier to say which teacher I respected most. His name was Donald Asher, and he taught history, and he taught it extraordinarily well. At university, I think my favourite teacher would have been Roy Wallace, an outstanding researcher and an outstanding teacher, a man who died tragically young, but who managed to influence the lives of countless students, undergraduates and postgraduates, who worked with him both at the university where he taught me and later at the Queen's University of Belfast. What's the strangest thing you've ever eaten? Well, I guess in honesty, from the point of view of a Scottish palate, the strangest thing I've ever eaten is surströmming. Now, surströmming is a way in which Swedish people treat herring, and it's actually fermented herring. It smells absolutely disgusting, but it tastes absolutely delicious. And if you can get past the odour, the aroma, and enjoy the flavour, then you're hooked for life. I guess maybe the best time to have your first surströmming is when you've got a cold. I love other things. I love haggis, which I know some American friends think is a bit peculiar. But I'm not going to go out of my way to tell you what's in it because you may even yet come to enjoy it. So my oddest ever food is surströmming. Tell us about your first ever gig. Well, I've been trying to remember what my first gig is, and the furthest back I can get in my memory, apart from one or two bands made up of friends who played in the corner of the Scout Hall, I think that the first proper gig I ever went to was the Rolling Stones in Glasgow's Barrowland. Rolling Stones is not a bad place to start, and I think that really was my first. It was back in the 1960s. And the Rolling Stones, still a very new band, played in Glasgow's Barrowland. What's my favourite place in the world? I'm 62 years old and I've been to thousands of places and I've loved many of them. To pick out one and call it my favourite is a big ask. So let me try and pick out three. And I'm going to give you these in no particular order of preference. They're different, and so I like them for different reasons. Let me say first that one of my favourite places in the world is the Rannoch Moor in Scotland. It's just the most bleak and dismal place, but somehow as you see the mountains rising up from the moor, it is also inspiring. I love the Rannoch Moor. I love the way in which you've got to be careful, because if you're not careful, you will die. I love the way in which, walking it, I remember ancestors who would have tramped that way, either driving cattle or defending themselves and their loved ones from an invader. So the Rannoch Moor is one of my favourite places. The capital of France, Paris, is another of my favourite places. It is a magnificent city. In many ways, it is everything that a city ought to be, and it's organised in the sort of way that a city ought to be organised. If you wanted me to show you what I think is the quintessential city, I would take you to Paris. It is wonderful. And my third favourite place in the world, not third in order of preference, but I guess it would have to be where I live. You see, out of my window I can see the mountains of Cowell, I can see Ben Lomond in the north, I can look up the line of the River Clyde towards Dumbarton. I just miss being able to see the Erskine Bridge. This corner of the Clyde offers the most outstanding views, and of my three favourite places in the world, this is certainly one. Port Glasgow in Scotland. So who am I going to tag to answer this survey next? I'd like to tag three people. The first is Elfangorax. His name is Ewan Patterson, and Ewan, perhaps more than anybody else, encouraged me to start making YouTube videos. And I know I'm not very good at it, but he's much better, and he hasn't made a video for a long time. So Ewan, I would like very much to see your answers to these questions. The second is LikeWatevrDude. Her name is Fiona Marshall. Fiona has a great deal to say and has yet to say it. So Fiona, I would love to see your answers to these questions as well. And my third tag goes to Sci-Fi with a Cup of Tea. Philippa McRae is the daughter of good friends of mine, and Philippa, I would love to see your answers. So that's my take on the Nerimon survey for 2012, and if you have been, thank you for watching. Bye bye now.